You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD. That's Chris Triplett. That's Chris McFeely. That's Nicole Hale. This is my crew of comic book aficionados. We are Fanboy Versus, bringing you a weekly dose of comic reviewage and news and stuff. Welcome.
What up?
How goes it?
We got Chris McFeely back.
Yeah.
He's still trying to
Still
overcome the drop from AA.
But it takes me a while. It's actually completely pathetic, but it really does bring me down afterwards. I was approaching AA in general with a lot of trepidation this year after last year, So as Jeff will be able to tell you, I didn't really start to get excited until we were literally on the plane and I knew I was going.
Yeah.
And the drop took a little longer to settle in after I was back as well. I went back to work right away the next day, whereas normally I would have the next day off. But that kept my brain busy. It did also do worse things to my body. I slept for 13 hours last night. Yeah, but
wow.
I'm kind of coming back up again. I think it might be time for a little art therapy, the way I got over the last auto assembly drop.
I loved your art from because the last auto assembly wasn't last year.
Yeah, the year
before.
before.
You were
Did all the
there,
art
yeah.
From the cosplay girls. I loved it.
There were very few humanized cosplays this year, though. Oh my God, you guys, the level of talent on display at the cosplay was ridiculous this year. Seriously.
BotCon was the same way. It's kind of funny to me that is something that's really started to bleed into the. Oh God! Wow,
he's gone.
He's gone. He's back.
He's back.
Yeah. Look what I got. This was maybe you guys have heard about it, maybe you haven't. This was the winner of the cosplay contest this year. Tori came second with her Deathsaurus, and I have to admit I forgot who was third. I think it was Prime RC, but the winner was a swarm of scraplets. Yes, Haley was RC. The winner was a swarm of scraplets.
No.
So he was dressed. I haven't seen any real pictures of it. He was dressed in a black body stocking, like a theatrical black body stocking, like for moving in the darkness, even though there was no. Yeah. Covered head to toe then in nearly 100 of these.
Oh my God!
Hand-made scraplets from toilet bottle tops and pipe cleaners and googly eyes and Christmas baubles.
That's so cool.
And they announced at the end of the thing, he announced that, he told Dave, the MC, that he didn't want to, for the people watching it in the video, you can see it, but for the people listening to the audio, you can't. So you have to go to YouTube and watch the video.
I've seen pictures of it, though. I mean, I saw pictures of it from...
He announced that he didn't want to take the costume home. So if anybody, because a lot of trouble to get it home, so if anybody wanted to scraplet as a souvenir, they could have one. Dave unfortunately chose to phrase this when he announced it to the crowded room as, if you want one, come and grab one. Stampede, not the word. It was people over the top of one another. And literally,
oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh,
was the guy okay?
Yeah. Everybody was fine, though. I did nearly fall over myself. And that would have been
protected in the areas that needed protection?
I got in and out.
It's good that Nicole is thinking about that.
I'm just thinking, people could be grabbing stuff that should not be grabbed.
That was just one of the many highlights of Saturday night.
I'm not even going to go with that.
I don't care. I'm going to have to pick up a third job, but I got to go next year.
New venue has definitely upped the game once again.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that BotCon is somewhere where I can go again, but getting to England would be...
And I keep thinking about BotCon. It's like, I would love to do a BotCon. I really would, and meet all of my American peeps, but I cannot conceive of it being... It's so huge now. I mean, it's been huge for years, but it would be so different to auto assembly. I don't know.
The thing is, they're two different monsters, and I've had fun at both of them. I mean, BotCon was, it was the place.
I think I would try to stay at the hotel. I mean, this past year we were able to stay with John, which was just great. But I think I want to stay at the hotel, just to be around everybody and hang out and stuff. But yeah, so that's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you back, sir, and hopefully you can get enough hugs or something this week.
And apparently you were involved in the script reading. It looks like according to Grufflock.
I did do. I don't think that. The highlight Grufflock's preparing to. That was the night of the lock-in podcast. But I was I was in the script reading for this year as well. I was reprising my Dinobot role from years past, and I also did a couple of other small roles that I'm actually not going to tell you about because we'll see if it's probably going to be a while before it goes up on YouTube. But they have that. They actively didn't announce who was going to be playing who at the start of this one, so just leave it for a surprise. I'm sure somebody out there could tell you if you desperately wanted to know, but I'm not going to tell you, just in case.
Cool. So, apparently we're lucky to have a show this week, because I was almost not here.
Yikes,
yeah. What the hell?
Yeah,
I saw the pictures, man.
Yeah,
are you okay?
So, yeah, I'm okay. So Monday, I wasn't feeling well, decided to come home, swung by McDonald's, driving towards my house. I am literally a half mile from my house, it's right there. And a lady decides to turn into a parking lot right in front of me, and I had no time to stop. Crash into her, both airbags deploy, so it was the whole, it's funny because as she went right in front of me, you hear about bullet time and stuff. It's real. It's cool. Because time slowed down, and I was like, what? It's I saw her go in front of me, hit the brakes, and my brain went, there's not enough time to stop. That's gonna suck. Wham! And of course, right after it's the cabin fills with smoke from the airbags. My ears are ringing. And my hand, I got a little bit of burn on my hand from the airbag, but I think my thumb got blown out of the way too. So it's sprained. But it took a whole week to get my rental car. I have this huge Dodge Ram, so if you're overseas and you have no equivalent for it, it goes car, van, regular truck, Dodge Ram, semi-truck. So it's,
I used to have a Dodge Ram. I loved that truck.
Dear God.
The problem is with having such a big truck, everyone expects you to move. Everyone expects you to haul their boats or their jet skis or their going.
Thankfully, with this being a rental, I'm not gonna have to worry about that per se. But oh my God,
but you still got to worry about putting gas in the baby. That's one thing.
I know. That's why I'm going to work and home and the store if I have to, but no superfluous trips because it's 5 gallons to the mile in that thing. But yeah, so I'm alive, so that's great.
That's good.
Apparently that's been voted as a good thing. So, yeah. So otherwise, that's all of the non-comic excitement and news things from this week. Maybe we should talk about comics, though. I guess.
Okay.
There is some stuff.
So what is it then, Chris McFeely? What do we have?
Well, I guess the big run of news that happened this week was all the Marvel Now announcements started to happen.
Yay!
Last week, they started doing all these one-word teasers and dropping creative team names and not saying who was not saying what they were, but and you could figure it out from the words: Invincible, Family, Chimichangas.
Let's see. That would be Iron Man, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool.
You would have it correct.
Yes!
Yeah. But these things have been formally and properly announced this week. So here's what we've got coming down the pipe from Marvel Now that has not actually been, in the catalogs yet, but will be coming into the catalogs now over the next couple of months. Fantastic Four by Matt Fraction and Mark Bagley.
Cool.
And it's still $3.
Okay.
Okay, I might need to get that.
That legitimately surprised me. Yeah.
Yeah.
FF is going to continue to exist.
Yes.
But
What?
it is not about the Future Foundation anymore. It is not about Franklin and Val and everything. It is just going to be a companion Fantastic Four book starring another team of new, well, not new characters, but a team with one member picked by.
Catch Ghost Rider.
No. No, it's FF, and this one is by Bagley with art by Mike Allred. And it's going to be starring Scott Lang Ant-Man, Medusa, She-Hulk, and a new character named Miss Thing.
I'm buying that book. She-Hulk's in it. I'm buying that damn book.
Yeah, that would be enough for me. The idea is that each
You
of
and
these
your
characters...
strong women.
Each one of these characters has been picked by one member of the Fantastic Four. So Reed has picked Scott, Ben has picked Jennifer, Sue has picked Medusa, and this new character, Miss Thing, is just like a celebutante that Johnny has picked, who is wearing Ben's old Thing robot suit that he wore for a while back in the 80s when he didn't have his powers.
Yeah.
So it's a very female-centric team.
Well, it's a half and half, but...
Yep. No, it's three.
Fantastic.
Oh, is it three?
females?
Yeah, I guess it is three, isn't it? Yeah. Well...
3. I will see about that. I mean, I'll get it. I'm a whore for Fantastic Four. I'll get it. But I mean, Fraction has. Hawkeye was fantastic last week, as you guys talked about. So it's like Fraction can deliver some of the most fantastic stuff, and then some of them, like his Thor hasn't impressed me. His Defenders is so up and down, but we'll give it a go.
Like I said, it's all about which Fraction shows up, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, that is literally what it comes down to. So
we do know that Defenders is ending with issue 12.
Okay.
Oh, it is?
Something that's come about as a consequence of this is that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Fraction needs the space in his schedule.
I don't think it, but I don't. It's just, I think it's probably more of a scheduling thing than anything else. That's the sad thing about Defenders. It's like Defenders is either bad and it gets canceled, or it's good and other shit happens. It's like a cursed title or something. It's like it just can't keep going.
Okay, that's not everything though. We got more. We got Captain America by Rick Remender and John Romita Jr.
John Romita Jr. could get me, but I'm not too thrilled about Rick Remender.
Yeah. Rick Remender's got a lot of, I'm not pulled in by him or anything, but he's got a lot of good press for his Uncanny X-Force, to be honest.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, I mean, he's not swaying me over to buy an Uncanny Avengers, even though that's coming out first and is sort of being presented as the flagship book. So, I don't know, I must be broken or something if I'm not grabbing the flagship.
But damn, John Romita Jr., I would buy anything. I would buy him drawing like a toilet seat. That's all he has to do, and I would buy it. You know?
The Adventures of Toilet Boy.
But if you want to talk about a book where I am really thinking about picking it up because of the creative team, we have got confirmation that Kieran Gillen and Greg Land are going to be doing Iron Man.
I'm buying that.
I mean, not so much for Land, but definitely I want to support Gillen, so I think I probably will wind up getting that.
It's Gillen plus Iron Man. I am there.
Yeah, I've been looking for a reason to get Iron Man.
Yeah. It's like, I love Iron Man. And you put Gillen on it, sold. Done.
Dropping some books.
Another one that excuse me. Another one that I would have picked up anyway, but I'm not quite excited for, is the announcement of Jason Aaron and Esad Ribic on Thor, God of Thunder.
Huh.
As Jason Aaron currently of
Wait,
Wolverine.
didn't they have a title of that already?
Wolverine the
Didn't they already have Thor, God of Thunder before?
Probably at some point, but reuse a title? Never. Not in Marvel. No way. Not at Marvel. We got the Mighty Thor right now. He's the Mighty Thor, and before that he was Thor, and then he was. I guess he was the Mighty Thor before that, but that was like before they started using adjectives to distinguish the Thor books, you know. It was the Mighty Thor for all of its existence up until it just became Thor whenever Straczynski started doing it.
The Mighty Thor, Thor, the Smelly Thor, the Strong Thor, Thor.
It's like the Invincible Iron Man, you know. He's been the Invincible Iron Man, but nobody ever calls it that. But now the key thing is like where so many other books are being retitled with your God of Thunder or whatever. And now Iron Man is not the Invincible Iron Man; it's just Iron Man. Similarly, in another one that's quite tempting, The Indestructible Hulk by Mark Waid.
Ah, so that is a thing. That is a thing then.
Yes.
Because we mentioned that, I think it was Bleeding Cool that mentioned a couple weeks ago that might be a thing.
Just a rumor. Although it does now mean that.
What is he leaving there?
Sorry?
So leaving Daredevil.
Oh, well, there's been
say no. Him leaving.
Art on that is going to be Lionel Francis Hugh. It would certainly imply that Waid is not leaving Daredevil, since we have also had confirmation, although it's not part of the Marvel Now thing that's relaunching from #1, we do have confirmation that Waid is not going to Avengers Assemble. Ms. Kelly Sue DeConnick is going to Avengers Assemble.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
And who is joining her on that? Stefano Caselli. Stefano Caselli of Amazing Spider-Man, Secret Warriors, Avengers: The Initiative. So that's the book I'm going to keep getting after Waid and Bagley are done. Bendis and Bagley. And I think that is everything, I think, except for... Yes, okay, a lot of these are like established creators just taking a step left and everything. But Deadpool #1 was the creative team that made a lot of people go, because it's...
Is it Bendis?
No.
That would be hilarious, though.
It's comedians Brian Posehn and Jerry Duggan.
What?
With artist Tony Moore. We know Tony Moore. You may not know Brian Posehn. If you ever watch, I don't know Jerry Duggan, but if you ever watch the Sarah Silverman show, you know Brian Posehn from it. And Brian Posehn was also the voice.
I like him. He's funny.
I'm not sure if I was pronouncing his name right, but and he was also the voice of Nanosec on Transformers Animated. For our regular listeners, will know him best as that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's
yeah,
a weird.
Place on Surf's Up.
I could be trying that again.
There's something. If they can just get rid of the 2 caption boxes tucking in his head, the way Daniel Way completely threw out everything about Deadpool when he started and jammed the caption boxes in. If he can just completely change it, and it seems to be about like dead presidents coming back to life and Deadpool having to kill them all or something is the first story arc. So
What?
yeah, so
See,
that's the thing.
See that it's like I haven't been like once Deadpool got way too popular, I dropped off, but I'm kind of interested to see if Deadpool can be good again because I really love Deadpool. I mean, like him and I definitely do share a love of chimichangas.
Deadpool doesn't like chimichangas that much. Deadpool just likes to say the word chimichanga.
Right,
but
that's part of why
Kingdom has fucking transmutated that through nerds on the internet who don't know anything about Deadpool except for the fucking motivational poster images they put up on forums, has turned it into one of Deadpool's big things, and the video game gets advertised with the fucking recipe for chimi. Fuck the internet and fuck Deadpool.
You don't even like
Not necessarily in that order.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
But I like the word chimichanga. It's just that I happen to also like the food chimichanga.
I don't believe I've ever eaten a chimichanga.
Another reason why you should be watching My Little Pony. Pinkie Pie loves that word too.
See?
It's chimicherry.
Jesus,
or is
really?
it cherry chunga? Or
Cool. So we haven't heard anything confirmed then about Dan Slott. Although I was a bit, I'm like,
I would be amazed if he left Spider-Man.
Okay, well I'm a little scared though because Christos Gage says that he was rewriting or working on a script for Spider-Man that had been written by Slott this morning, and that scared me a little bit.
I saw it. Yeah. I
You
didn't
saw
even
the
think
tweet
about
I'm
it.
talking about though.
I didn't see
Yeah.
the tweet myself. No.
I saw the tweet. Yeah.
See, Triplet did, and that scared me a little bit. Just a little
I didn't think about it at the time, but now, I can see why that would be terrifying. Damn
That's
it.
obviously because Dan Slott is so good and so busy that they're launching a second Spider-Man series that he's going to write as well. And so Christos Gage has to help. Has to come in and
Right,
help.
that's got to
But
be
that's
it.
because-
All right,
but
we're
that's
okay
not
then.
because Avengers Academy's been cancelled or anything. No, he's just taking his free time out to help Dan Slott because Avengers Academy couldn't possibly be going anywhere, is it? No, have you heard anything? What?
And
Don't
the
touch my
paranoia.
books! Leave them alone! Leave them alone!
Don't screw up the good stuff. All right, cool. What else have we got?
is that like all the announcements? Is that everything?
That's all the
That's
Marvel
all
stuff.
the Marvel announcements so far. Yeah, I think it's about half of.
I think
That's
I might be
amazing.
picking up Deadpool.
They're bringing the heat, man. They talk about reorganizing in a way to like appropriately distribute good creators to okay books and okay books to, you know, like good books to okay creators to like create this sort of tapestry of buy everything.
Shuttling Ben off to the X-Men franchise.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
then,
care.
and then
It's gonna work.
push him away. He can bring Nightcrawler back, and Nightcrawler can say funny things while they're eating breakfast. And so,
So is Squirrel Girl gonna become
on the back
member
of
of
a
the
chair.
now?
Squirrel Girl will be an X-Men now. She'll be,
X-Men, right?
yeah.
Squirrel Girl is a mutant.
She is a mutant. Yeah, I mean, that's she is a mutant. So I mean, that only fits that she would be with the X-Men.
There you go.
So,
See, now, was there anything else?
I still, you know, for as much as I get Bendis shit, I still think that quote that he had about Squirrel Girl, which was this. He was talking to Fraction and said, "To you, she's Jar Jar Binks, but to me, she's Neo."
Okay.
It's like, all right, Bendis, you get a point. Anything from DC this week? Or?
Moving to movies then.
Movies, okay.
Joss Whedon to do Avengers 2. Hooray!
Yes.
Yeah!
And
Like money. I love money, actually.
I saw a tweet from him earlier, which was like, I really appreciate all the plot ideas, but really, let me have a chance at it first. Yes,
He's also supposed to be doing a Marvel TV series set in the cinematic universe, too.
Ooh.
No word on what it is. But
that could be interesting.
I've
I'm
heard
sure
some
it'll be
people
cancelled
say,
after one season.
yeah, it'll be canceled after one season. I've heard like some people say that it might be something like maybe around like Shield or something. Could you see that maybe?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of easy to do for a TV show. I mean, basically a side or something.
There was something else. What was it?
Well, what's his name? Jeremy Renner was complaining about how he didn't care for what his character had to go through the first Avengers. So hopefully.
Well, it
Hogan is
wasn't the
doing-
best showcase for Renner, now, to be fair.
No,
Yeah.
well, it wasn't the best showcase for Hawkeye either.
No, but
Hawkeye needs his own movie, though, which I think I've
Yeah.
heard rumors that they're doing that
Hawkeye
too.
and the Black Widow, they should just do that and do it as a flashback where it's their origins.
That'd be sweet. Go
He
with
needs a mask. He needs a purple mask.
No, he doesn't.
Well,
That's the worst thing ever, Chris.
if they do it as a flashback movie and they do it like the comics where he and the Black Widow used to be criminals, then he can wear a mask to hide his identity while he's a criminal, and then he can lose the mask when he becomes...
Yeah, that could work.
Have you ever been at the circus and he's just wearing a mask shooting a bow?
I mean, yeah, even that
One
works,
scene,
yeah.
one scene, I'm asking for one freaking scene with him with a purple mask. You know?
Okay.
Circus works very, very well, actually.
Yeah,
You
that
can
would
do
be great.
Speaking of movies, I think this was last week. I wasn't here. It's all kind of blurred together now. There was all this talk about Ben Affleck to direct the Justice
Yeah, that
League
was
movie.
this week. Boy, they dropped that like it was hot, didn't they?
Yeah, and then Ben Affleck's people just went, no.
Ah, no. He
No,
has
no.
sunk his ship quite well on his own. We don't need you media people trying to sink it for him.
Poor Justice League. Poor Ben Affleck. Poor DC.
Yeah, I don't know which is worse about that that they're so desperate for someone that the rumor even got out that they were approaching Ben Affleck, or that Ben Affleck was like, fuck no. I mean, that's just the bottom of the barrel scraping the bottom of the barrel is what that is.
I mean, DC just really need to just stop, take a step back, and just look at why Avengers worked and realize you can't just make a Justice League movie out of thin air and expect it to succeed on the level of the Avengers. You have to... Like, I just got... Oh, I would hold it up to the camera here because it's so awesome if I did. I got my Justice League complete cartoon box set this week. I think I mentioned on the show that I had ordered that a month ago. It took forever to arrive. But I got that this week. And I was watching the Secret Origins 3-part pilot, opening thing. And I was just watching it and I was going, there is no way to casually drop Wonder Woman into an existing universe.
No.
Because, Justice League starts out with Superman and Batman doing their superhero stuff, and then Flash and Green Lantern are pre-established characters from the Superman animated series. Supergirl doesn't need much preamble, and Martian Manhunter and Wonder Woman have their origins as part of the story. And it's just, the story's just doodling along, and then it's, by the way, a magical island that's only full of women and the gods protect them. And it's like, whoa! No explanation whatsoever. We're just gonna roll with that. Okay. You cannot just casually drop one. You've got to have something to set that up first. Do not think you can pull off Justice League without setting this stuff up.
I would want a Wonder Woman movie first. I think a Wonder Woman movie, if it's done right anyway, it'd be really good. I mean, freaking Hobbit's coming out. People like their sword and sorcery shit. She fights gods and demons and Medusa and shit. I think you can make that work.
I mean, I think Wonder Woman needs an awful lot of work and simplification and paring down of the kind of confused mixture of patriotism and BDSM that makes up her origins. But she's gonna have to be worked over pretty heavily, I think, to get a decent film out of her. But it's doable, and they really should look at doing that before they get near Justice League.
Yeah, totally.
But if they can't even get Green Lantern right, they can't even.
The only way that they could go with the Justice League movie is if it was a digital movie, if it was like a digital animated film that they tried to do as a feature, it was like a one-off. That might work and make money, but that would be
or
the
if
only
it was
way.
the Justice League International or something, where the idea of the characters being second raters is built into the premise.
And then you get your favorite little.
Then it would be.
Then a booster gold.
Yeah. But then you probably got to lose a lot of Booster's origin in the process. You just want to boil it down.
Maybe they should try something different like that. Maybe they should do like a Booster Gold movie, a character that no one's familiar with.
Definitely. I think DC's best. If they can't manage, Flash is their last best hope for a top tier character movie.
Yeah.
I would love to see Skeets.
I the other day, because I got my PS3 hooked back up, so I have all my streaming videos. And I turned on the first part of that Green Lantern movie.
Oh,
and I couldn't even make it past the
It's
fucking
not
intro.
that bad. I don't know why you think it's not that bad.
It was just like pandering shit. It was just like, we're not going to tell you, we're not going to show you the story. We're just going to explain the story.
I can explain it to you.
God.
I can't remember. Was it a Star Wars crawl or was it just
No, it
was a voiceover.
Tomar Ray chatting over the top of it.
It should have been a Star Wars crawl. Green Lantern, episode 1.
Of 1. Episode 1 of 1.
In the beginning, there was the green light.
The Guardians are in the darkest time of their lives. Blah, blah, blah.
God.
We will now explain the plot to you, the audience, and you will not at all be bored when we have to explain it again verbatim to the main character as well. We could probably have mixed those two things together. Oh, fuck it anyway.
See,
we could have created a thing called a point of view character that we had built into the fucking story.
The entire premise of Green Lantern. But no, we thought, I gotta do all the space shit. Jeff Johns did stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing, watching the Justice League cartoon, actually.
I don't care. I enjoyed it.
You wrong to, and you should feel bad.
I'm a bad person for liking Green Lantern.
Watching the Justice League cartoon again today, the one after the pilot is in Blackest Night, where John Stewart is accused of blowing up a planet and what have you. Yeah, and they go to Oa, and it's it was really weird seeing Oa from a cartoon in a time before Jeff Johns' Green Lantern existed, where it was just like a planet, and it was all grey, and there was just a little grey city on it. And it wasn't this glowing green city world that was shaped like a lantern and everything. Because that's a great image, and it's become totally pervasive and has totally redefined what you think of when you think of Oa. And I was like, this is really weird. This is only 10 years old, and it's already dated like that.
Yeah, that is weird. I didn't remember watching that, rewatching that recently. But...
Anyway, JD, you have something to tell us about.
Yes! While I do that, if you would all reset your video, because apparently I may be having problems. So,
Yeah.
Because everybody's froze. Okay, so came across Twitter, I guess, like Friday morning, that I can't remember who, but somebody retweeted it like, "Hey, Gail Simone has a Kickstarter up. You should check it out." And I was like, "Gail Simone has a Kickstarter? Well, this could be interesting." So I pull it up. What it is her and Jim. You will have to help me with the pronunciation here, Chris McFeely. Calafiore.
I believe that's correct.
That did the art for Secret Six. So this is basically the creative team for Secret Six. They are doing it's a graphic novel, one-shot, graphic novel called Leaving Megalopolis. The tagline
sounds Lego-ish. Are they building a Lego city? That's
no.
what it sounds like.
No. The tagline is, when the caped heroes of the world's safest city inexplicably all turn into homicidal lunatics, no one is safe.
Lunatics.
Lunatics. I know, my tongue got all tied
There's
up.
Maniacs and lunatics.
The only rational thing to do...
Yeah.
The only rational thing to do is get the hell out of town. And there's a great like cover art almost for it here, which shows you only can see like the arms and feet or capes of some of the quote unquote heroes, and you see a group of what looks like citizens backed up against a wall with the sort of torn up sign "Leaving Megalopolis" behind them. But it is completely the that same art style that you're used to from Secret Six. The premise is right in line with what we're used to from Gale. So this looks like it is going to be great. It is on Kickstarter. You can contribute to it. There's all kinds of the way Kickstarter works is there's all kinds of levels of pledging. You don't, I think, owe anything until they actually meet their pledge goal. Now, it's 32 days left. It started with 35, so I'm pretty sure, like I said, it was Friday. The pledge goal was $34,000. It is at $33,283, so that should hit goal probably today or tomorrow.
That's pretty quick.
1,138 backers as of right now. I am one of those. If you want, you can do the $15 pledge. That will get you the 80-page graphic novel, and you also get a PDF and a wallpaper version. That'll be coming out in February. Now, there is, and this will be of interest to Chris McFeely, there is a retailer pack. Where,
I was going to say, is this going to be available through retailers, or is it just people who pay for it through Kickstarter?
What it is, there's, let's see, there's one of these that's like a retailer incentive. If you pledge $100 or more, it's the retailer incentive. You get 10 copies of the graphic novel shipped to your store, and that is for retailers only. So $100 would get you 10 copies. There's also the premium incentive, which is $125. There's a limited number of those, but that would get you 10 copies of the graphic novel. That would each come with a limited edition plate insert for the first page. So there's all kinds of different levels to this, depending on what you want to pledge
that's
to
Kickstarter.
So yeah, but I mean, there's all kinds of different levels as far as like for retailers that want to be able to sell it through their store as well. They've set up several different tiers where they can do that as well. But 15 is the minimum to get the actual book as an individual. So that's what I've pledged. And that'll get me the book itself. So,
is this the first Kickstarter? I've heard a lot of them. I don't know if they've done any before this. I've heard a lot of video game Kickstarters. Seems like everybody's doing video game Kickstarter.
No, and even I had looked at. I mean, there's a lot of comics that are being done. What you're seeing now is you're seeing a lot of creators going independent and going through Kickstarter.
There's a big one coming from Image, actually, which is the new Cyberforce series. It's being entirely funded through Kickstarter for at least its first 3 issues, and is going to be available free through comic shops as a result.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, to me, it's kind of... I mean, Kickstarter is fine because, it's not like Kickstarter has any kind of big stipulation. But, I mean, Kickstarter has the range. I mean, it's anywhere from... individuals who are looking to get their stuff set. It's basically a creative way to do pre-orders for stuff that you're going to distribute, but you may not have the startup capital to do. So this lends very well to creators. Like I said, I know there's a lot of comic books that have gone through this. I had a comic I was wanting to do, and this would have been the way that I would have done it. So that obviously didn't go anywhere. But
yes, you can still do it.
I could. I still have the story. I just don't have an artist. Because apparently artists...
Calling all artists out there.
Yeah. You know? So artists apparently are extremely hard to find. Or find to do other people's work. But anyway. But no, I mean, like, this is great. 34,000 is actually a pretty low goal. This will go way over that. I mean, because obviously you'll see people, chipping in for more than that. But yeah. So there you go. So that's worth checking out. You can go to Kickstarter. You just do a search for Leaving Megalopolis, and you can find it, or Gail Simone as well. This has been all over the news and stuff, so it's easy to find. But anyway, check that out. I am supporting that. You should too. And if shops, especially, like if you have, tell your shop to incentive, get in on that. I mean, that's something easy. They could, heck, chip in your, a couple hundred. You get 10 copies, selling 15. That's pretty good. That's probably better than a lot of trades, as far as margin. So, anyway, any other news?
I think that's everything I'm aware of for this week.
Excellent.
Was it news or just rumor about the whole Galactus, Silver Surfer, Daredevil?
Oh, there was that.
Right
yeah.
thing? Was that news, or was that actually just a rumor?
Well, it's still. What I understand, it's still in talks. It's up to. Who is it?
It's like
pretty
Fox,
much right now.
Fox
has got to decide whether they want Daredevil or not.
They got to October to begin production on a Daredevil movie. If not, it reverts back to Marvel. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they said that Marvel will give them the extension if they give them the rights to Galactus and Silver Surfer. And then Disney came into it too, and all that fun stuff.
That's really interesting. Has anything ever like ever really happened before? So we don't want Fantastic Four, but we want Galactus and Silver Surfer because they're two. But
well, they're talking about Galactus and Silver Surfer, for future Avengers stuff. So
yeah, something.
They're probably just thinking cosmically. If we live in a world where, I'll say it again, where the Guardians of the Galaxy can get a film, the Silver Surfer should, if they are poised to break the cosmic end of things open, then really the Silver Surfer,
Considering that Guardians is already in the midst of a rewrite, though, I mean, how strong, what kind of numbers are we putting on this becoming an actual thing? I mean...
Oh, I know. I mean, they've announced it. There's art and everything. This is going to happen.
Yeah, okay. I'm still a little skeptical.
I can understand, but, it's friggin' Marvel at this stage. They are just throwing all the poop against the wall to see what sticks here at this stage. Yeah, I mean, they are at a point where they think they can get away with Guardians of the Galaxy, and more power to them, frankly.
It's a raccoon with guns. That sells it right there.
She has a point.
One of many elements.
Who doesn't want to see that on the screen? A raccoon.
I kind of hope Fox doesn't take the deal, and Marvel just gets Daredevil back, and then they make a awesome Daredevil movie or something. Just get Daredevil back.
I think it was William West was trying to sell Twitter on the idea that the Daredevil movie is actually good.
It's not that bad.
I don't mind it.
It's not. The director's cut. It's not bad. It's better.
I've never seen the director's cut, but again, aside from a better costume, actually better costumes all round, and perhaps no Ben Affleck, and perhaps not casting the whiter than white Jennifer Garner as the exotic Greek Elektra, and actually better casting all around.
Okay, you're
shut up.
just making it
Never
sound
mind.
like it's a bad
So basically, if it would have been a different movie,
if it looked and sounded different, and had different people in it, then maybe.
It'd be a good movie, is what you're saying.
I think that's pretty much a different movie.
Didn't do too bad of a job, but I hate that guy.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Bullseye from the comics at all,
Yeah. I might have to watch. It's been a long time since I've watched it, so I
I've
have to.
never watched
Director's cut worth seeing, but don't expect like the greatest movie ever. It will just make more sense. The first one, it's like, wait a minute, that's how it ends. What just happened? Yeah. The director's. Oh, so that's how it happened. That's basically what the director's cut is.
Pressing the delete key does not cause everything to vanish one letter at a time.
No. Okay. Well then, I guess we'll get into our recommendations. Chris Triplett's connection has been kind of awful, and I do apologize. So we'll see how well.
It's all your fault.
It's all my fault. Thanks.
I said Triplett's all his fault.
It is all Triplett's fault. Well, like I said, I don't know. So anyway, try, if you will, to give us your recommendation for the week, sir.
I'll do my best. Spider-Man for 4. Woohoo! Yeah. This continues to be awesome. I really like it. Might I say? It's
wait. Triplet is saying a Spider-Man comic is awesome.
I think that's a drink, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh yeah.
Triplet reviews a Spider-Man comic. Take a drink. Yeah.
We get to take 2 drinks because it's 2 Spider-Man.
I think you could. I was about to say, not only do I think this comic is amazing, it's also ultimate.
Would you say it's ultimately amazing?
Ultimately amazing. There you go.
Okay.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
One thing that I would knock the book with is this book wins the award for shit that don't happen that's on the cover.
Oh God, yeah, wow, like seriously.
Because like the cover, I mean, it's basically Amazing Spider-Man Peter Parker holding Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man in his arms, where it looks like they've been in a big fight and Miles is dead or dying.
I'm thinking that might happen in the next issue, though.
Yeah, but you put that on the next issue, not on this issue.
Yeah.
I know.
That does not happen. That does not happen in this issue. That doesn't remotely happen in this issue. In fact, there is no fighting in this issue. This is hey.
The thing is, Miles got himself when he's playing with Peter's web slingers. And he's like, "Oops." That's like maybe that's what it is.
Maybe if he was using the web shooter and it exploded, and then like Peter Parker ran over and picked him up. It's like, "Are you okay?" "Oh, I'm fine, thanks." Then you can pass it, but no, that never happens. Basically, this is just a big conversation issue. It's just Peter Parker going and visiting Aunt May and Gwen Stacy of the Ultimate Universe, and just what happens, because of course he's dead. Oh my God, what's going to be going through Aunt May and Gwen Stacy's mind? That's why you need to read the book. I mean, basically, if you're getting Ultimate Spider-Man, you should be getting this book anyway, because the books have kind of been going together. It's kind of like missing issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, and you're really going to get a lot out of it, especially to see what happened to those cast characters when Peter Parker was the star of the book. That's what I'm so interested about. Like Mary Jane. Mary Jane shows up. Really kind of a sad thing happens with Mary Jane in the issue.
My favorite is the little interaction with Nick Fury.
That was
Just one line.
So is this how Miles is going to get web shooters? I mean, is that the way this is?
He footers around with them, but then he leaves them behind when they leave towards the end of the issue.
But if you've read the last issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles is meeting with Aunt May and Gwen Stacy, or Aunt May for the first time.
Yeah.
And it leads you to think they're going to give him Peter's web shooters. It doesn't happen at the end of the issue, but it leads you to think she has a box. She says, "I think you need to have this," but she's stopped by Captain America at the end of the issue.
One would assume that can't be what's in there, though, since here that he's because this takes place after where Ultimate Spider-Man is now, and he doesn't have him yet. But he might. Well, it's always
this does. It might still happen at some. Yeah.
You're expecting them to be completely linear? Come on.
I don't know, man. No, I think there's a plan here. We have the stuff about his uncle being dead already, and it turns out in the newest issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, his uncle has died. Yes.
Yeah.
And it took me until reading that to realize, wait a minute, his uncle is dead. I get it. Because we've already had the whole thing where Peter Parker is technically his Uncle Ben figure, the death that motivates him. But then it's the fact then through acting, he actually causes the death of his actual uncle. It's a great flip. I really like it.
His uncle was a jerk, so it's like it's not. He didn't inspire him because he's this asshole that was trying to use him. You know.
So the Prowler is dead then now, because I'm not keeping up with Ultimate. So
yeah, you should be. It's awesome. You should continue to get.
I think we've had this discussion. So
yeah,
money,
I know.
Books, thank you.
I know. You're getting a Spider book that you should just switch for Ultimate. I'm just telling you that right now.
I love Scarlet Spider. You hush.
And if you want to read a and if you want to read a story about a guy who causes trouble when he uses his powers instead of good, then maybe you want to read Ultimate, not Scarlet, because it's not gonna last.
Well, Scarlet's only 2 more issues?
Well, we don't know. No, I don't think there's been any official word of it being canceled yet.
You hush, it's good. You leave my Scarlet Spider alone.
We all have our Spider favorite. We all have our Spider favorite, but JD has Scarlet Spider.
But yeah, Spider-Man continues to be good. There's one issue left. I can't wait to see how it's going to end. I'm sure there's going to be a big fight with Mysterio.
Yeah, I mean, if I cast a strike against it, it's the fact that there is only one issue left, and they have spent the whole penultimate issue sitting around talking. But this is not. Well, yes, true. There's not going to be a lot of reward here for anybody who's just picking this miniseries up, which I imagine there are quite a lot of people doing. It is basically the 50th anniversary event, but there is an awful lot of emotional closure at work here for May and Gwen, who, you know, had their Peter taken away from them, and it's just sort of little glimpse into the future of how things might have been, or how they feel things might have been to meet this adult Peter, and it's very, very satisfying for somebody who's been reading Ultimate Spider-Man from the start. You know?
If you've been reading it from the start, you have to get this book. Maybe the Amazing Spider-Man fans don't need it. It's kind of just an interesting little adventure for Peter, but if you've been buying Ultimate Spider-Man, you have to buy this book. No doubt.
And why aren't you reading Ultimate, JD?
Exactly. Ultimate is awesome.
I only have so much money.
And the
I
title.
can tolerate so much Bendis. I'm reading 2 really good Spider-Man books. Neither of them written by Bendis. So, all right, very cool. Nicole.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to talk about another one of our show favorites, Batgirl. I don't know, am I the only one that read it this week?
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a look.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the cover was very interesting because in the last issue, you see there's going to be a big fight between Batgirl and Batwoman. So that's what's on the cover. That's how it gets you going. And you come to find out these two have never met before, Batgirl and Batwoman. So actually, right now, this is a very female character centric comic right now. Well, this issue you have what's her name?
That detective lady.
The
right?
detective. I can't remember her name now. I don't think. But anyways, she's part of the mercenary group. Well, she was, I should say. That Nightfall is ahead of, and so they're trying to. Well, Batgirl's trying to save a so-called criminal that they're trying to go after, and he basically was a car thief, and he was 16 years old, and they beat the shit out of him. Wow. And so
didn't he get his leg caught in a bear trap and his leg cut off? All kinds of horrible things happen. Yeah.
Yeah. But these mercenaries think they're doing it because this guy's a criminal, so he deserves to have the ultimate, punishment, which was basically death or some form of it. But yeah, and so they're trying to get together to stop these mercenaries, and you see the side of the mercenaries as well. These are criminals. We want to make Gotham golden again, but we had to, pretty much bring everything down. It's a very, very, it's a good issue. There's a lot that goes on that I don't want to talk about because there's a lot of spoilers in it. There is something that goes on with Commissioner Gordon and his son. His son is not, let's just say he's not one of the good guys. And
I was quite pleased to see I was quite pleased to see they found a way to actually explain that and tie it into stuff that's been going on in the most forgotten Bat book as well.
Yeah.
But for the first 6 pages, it's basically Batgirl and Batwoman just having a good old bitch fight, and I love it.
Batwoman beats the shit out of Batgirl.
Oh my gosh! And of course, Batgirl's like, "Uncle." Cries
she's like,
Uncle.
She's like, does anybody still say that?
The thing is, she gives her a good tip. She's like, you need to keep a silk handkerchief in your utility belt. So, she's like, wow, I never thought of that. I just like the interaction between these two because they're like, okay, we just had this big fight, and they come together and they realize they're basically on the same side. So I like seeing these two work together. So I'm looking forward to the next issue. Very, very well done. And there's something big that happens at the end. I can't tell you what, but Nightfall is not a nice person. Let's just say that.
Well, I wouldn't
Nightfall is a weird. Nightfall is a weird name for a character too, because of that whole Batman storyline.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of weird having a character named Nightfall.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But it's getting good. There's a lot of good fights in here.
There's a lot of good ideas in this Batgirl. I thought. A lot of good ideas for villains.
Yeah, this issue definitely set up like 3 different storylines here, and I'm just waiting to see where it goes. Yeah. So.
Plus, topless Commissioner Gordon scene.
Oh,
there
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He's very well ripped, man.
Hello,
Nice.
Commissioner.
Nice.
Hello, Mr. Gordon. Yeah, hopefully Barbara doesn't have to see her father in that way. No, I love this book. I look forward to it every month. So Gail Simone does not fail. So highly recommend it. Like I said, I can't really talk a whole lot about it because there's a lot of spoilers and a lot of plots that are starting up.
Did you just say that? Did you say that Gail doesn't fail?
Did I?
Gail doesn't fail. There you go.
Do you think that is what her nasty internet troll critics call her? Fail Simone?
Fail Simone?
Oh, I've never heard of it said
I've
before,
never
but you
heard
imagine
that
that
said. I
they're.
hope not.
Do you think? Have I just started something?
I would break their legs. That's awesome.
Okay. We need to edit this show so that doesn't get out. Just delete
Right. We
it.
don't even want to give them that idea. That would
But
mean...
also the art in this is wonderful. I gotta say, I love the
Who
art.
is on the art for this one? That hasn't changed. has it?
This one's
it's
Adrian Safe.
It is still. Yeah, I thought it was. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
I love consistency in my DC books. I haven't got it in many of them, but it's good that it's been consistent with this book at least.
Yeah.
The whole fight scene between Batgirl and Batwoman is just beautifully done. I love it. You see these 2 redheaded women just go at it, man.
Hey, I'm quite fond of that too.
Yeah. Sounds like a win to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, the thing is, like I just said, I dropped Batwoman, not because, I just need to drop something. And it's good to see her back. So for me to get back into reading something about her. So
You should consolidate both characters into one book and just call
that
it
would be awesome.
Just call
Batwomen, like
Bat
Spider,
Chicks.
Bat chicks. Yeah, because that wouldn't be...
or batshit crazy chicks.
Batwoman Inc. Batwoman Inc. There you go. That's what I want.
Bat ladies.
Bat.
They start a detective agency and they, dress as Batwomen.
All right.
Batwoman.
See more of these 2 put together.
It's a noir pulp book.
God. All right. Well,
Pretty-
speaking of Batman and Batwomen,
Batman.
Batman.
Speaking of the Bat universe, because there's only like how many did we figure out? 13 out of the 52 books
God.
in the New 52 are Batman books. I think we figured this up last week, Chris McFeely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if
Wow.
you're on, if you would agree with those numbers or something comparable to it.
You just think here: Batman, Detective, Dark Knight.
Easiest thing to do is if you go to the back of one of your books and look at the images of the
I'm doing that right now.
zero issues. The
Yeah, I'm
zero
doing that right
covers.
I'm just thinking here: Batman, Detective, and Robin, Dark Knight, Batgirl, Batwoman, Nightwing, Red Hood.
Does count?
I guess if you want to count Catwoman, yeah. That's 9.
I got 13 after that
Owl.
What,
yeah.
Owlie or whatever his
Oh, if
tail
you
was.
want to count Owlie. Yeah, Talon, I suppose, would make a 10th one. What are the other 3?
Red
There's
Hood.
11.
I said Red.
Okay, so there's Batman,
Nightwing,
Batman,
Batgirl,
I said
Batman.
Nightwing, I said
Dark
Batgirl.
Knight.
Batwing, that's 11, yeah. Batman Inc. is 12,
Batman.
yeah.
Yeah.
Batman and Rob. Dark Knight.
There's 11 in the back here. There's
Detective Comics.
Batwing, Detective, regular.
I've got 11 because I forgot Batman Inc. and Batwing. So I've got 12 with Batwing and Batman Inc. I don't know what number 13 would be.
Would you go
Unless you
Birds
would
of
count
Prey,
Geek
maybe?
Oh, yeah, well,
Birds
that's
of-
included in the Bat family, so that would be 13, yeah.
Yeah. Dear God.
There you go, then.
Dear God.
I'm glad I don't buy all those books.
No.
Full quarter.
I buy 2. I buy Batman and I buy Batgirl. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Batman this week. I don't know if this is going to be a one-off or not. Obviously, the next issue for everything is
like
Zero issue.
Yeah. The next arc is what, like Return of Joker or something? Is that what they're doing?
That
Yeah,
should
that's
be,
the next
but this
big one,
I don't know how much this character might come into play though. So this is a non-Batman centric book. I mean, this is sort of a ground level look at a character. These are a brother-sister duo, Harper Row and her brother Cullen.
They're not crime fighters. You described them as a duo. I just thought.
Well, they're a duo because they live together.
Yeah.
They live together in the Narrows. The thing to know is that Harper works for like the city electric grid. I'm assuming she's out of high school. I guess she's like recently graduated high school or out of high school, but she works on the electrical grid. They live in a really shitty apartment in the Narrows. Like, that's very descriptive. And Cullen is still in high school. The story, part of the story takes place as Cullen is trying to get Harper ready to go to one of the Wayne galas because their building is going to be tore down and replaced with one of the new Wayne envisioned awesome places as he's trying to fix up Gotham. And she even has like a brief little exchange with Alfred in the book. So there's like peripheral interactions. The main thrust of this, though, the first part of this starts off with the main problem these characters are having is that Cullen is gay. And he is being picked on heavily by sort of gang thugs in their neighborhood. So much so that they're like coming into their apartment and beating him up. One thing I want to point out that I think is interesting that at least they tried to do, it's something that I think Scott tried to do, and it seems like some work was done to cover it up, and I don't know how I feel about it. Okay, so here's the deal. When early in part of this issue, the thugs broke into the house and took a razor, like electric razor, to Cullen's head, and they shaved the back of his head, and they basically carved the word fag into his hair. And what Harper did was basically cut her hair the same way and walked him to school the next day. As sort of like support and protection for him. But in the art, on the page, they cover it up so that you can't see the full word.
But you know what it says, though. You never question what it says.
Yeah, it's not a question of
Yeah,
what it says.
I haven't read this yet, so I gotta go try it. Which page is it?
God, it's like near the middle.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
about like 6 or 7 pages into it, I think.
I see.
It's no question what it says because you can see enough between their two heads to make it out.
Well, they put the G on the left side.
On the left side, and so it's. I don't know. I mean, I get like what they're. It's an odd thing. Like that word has such a connotation to it, where I think it has the right effect for the story, and it totally fits in with the story. But they've made it like not okay to put in the book, and it's almost like the art was redone to cover it up.
Well, is it covered by caption boxes or just by bits of the art?
hair. Yeah, by bits of the art and the hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Harper's hair. There's a longer piece that's covering the middle of the word on her hair.
It doesn't look like it's fully shaved in there.
But it would have
trimmed.
It's like it would have been, but the art is covering it up. It's like the art. Yeah. It's like they went back over it and covered it back up. I'd be interested to see. It's like I almost want to ask about it because it looks like that's been redone, but I don't know. Anyway, but the deal is, like I said, is that Harper works on the electric grid, and one of the days when she's coming home with her brother, this gang goes to attack them. She actually made a little like taser. Yeah. To try to fight them, but then there were just too many. And lo and behold, Batman shows up and beats the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And scares them off. That's like the first half of the story. The rest is where it gets kind of interesting and really kind of goes in a direction I wasn't expecting. So, I mean, it's definitely worth a read. It's a great one-off if you're looking for kind of something to be an interesting story that's not... and
I felt that it wasn't one just because they have a different artist. This isn't. It
is, but like I said, I'm wondering if this character is going to be. There's too much conviction in this character for her not to show up later. She's definitely a character that's very smart, been inspired. She reminds me of, it's one of the. I think it's interesting that Tim Drake is mentioned early in this book. Because her brother has this sort of joking plan where he wants her to seduce Tim and then bring him home so that he can seduce Tim. But which totally plays up on the other rumors about Tim's sexuality, but whatever. But she puts me in that mindset where she's very street smart and very sort of intuitive, and I mean, she definitely has an interaction with Batman here that's worth seeing, a one-on-one interaction with him. So definitely check this out. If you've not been reading Batman, this is a decent book to read before you get to the Zero issue. There's interesting things in here, and I'm hoping this character shows up again. I think there's a lot of story potential.
Yeah, I like the character. I could see her coming back. I'm just saying, like, it felt very like this story's done and over with, and moving on to something else. And she could just be somebody that shows up like Batman has allies, and she's now an ally.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Maybe if DC really want to piss off her fans, she could be the new spoiler.
It would be. It would do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, check that out. Interesting little one-off story. If nothing else, just for that piece of art. And like I said, I almost want to tweet Scott Snyder and just see like, hey, was that art covered up or what? But I don't know. Anyway, so there you go, Chris McFeely.
Yes, okay. I don't have really any one thing that jumped out at me enough to talk about at length today, so I'm just going to fire through a couple of quick things from last week and this week. First off, who read Dial H last week?
Ooh.
No. Sorry.
Me. Ooh,
I did.
Shame. Dial H. Wow, I wasn't sure about Dial H number 3 because it seemed to be like implying a lot of backstory that we just weren't getting served, and it confused me more than anything else, and I had to read it more than once, Yeah. But issue 4, it was like, here's all the backstory all at once.
Yeah.
And there is so much going on here as well. And the fact, just a great, already only 4 issues in, they've found great ways to subvert the idea in in an isolated movie of the week sort of style, where Nelson, like, deprived of the dial and teaming up with the Squid, this reptilian creature that has been formerly an ally of the villain, XN, just dresses himself up like in a cape and a pair of night vision goggles and a hammer and calls himself Rescue Jack. No powers, no nothing.
Great.
And it's really, really great that even without the dial, he's found out he is a hero and he creates an identity for himself. It's a really great twist on the idea that never really occurred to me, but seems like such a logical third act move, for like, say, a 2-hour film. For that to happen, the bad guys get the dial, and then he has to do that in the third act, and he gets it back. It's like The Mask. It's like The Mask.
Yeah.
He gets the mask in the third act of The Mask, and then Jim Carrey gets it back at the very end and kicks all the asses. That's it. Yeah. But there's so much mind-bending beings made out of nothingness, and all the little references to the squid and his mysterious partner falling through reality, and what Ex Nihilo's true goals are all laid out here in with startling, it's a very info dumpy issue, to be fair to it, but they pile on a lot of stuff in very short order that, this is probably something that'll read better in issue format than in graphic novel format, because there is so much going on here. It's like it'd be like the graphic novel would just stop 4/6 of the way in and tell you everything, whereas this is very much, as an issue, it is just the backstory issue, But I wasn't sure. I was growing a little concerned with ILH. They were going to string out a lot of this stuff and keep us guessing for a long period of time, because this is like, say, Swamp Thing or like Animam, and it's basically a Vertigo title by any other name. So automatically, I feel like I think about it like I think about a lot of Vertigo books, like a fixed length of, say, about 60 issues or whatever, with the major beats plotted out, and I figured, we're going to have to stew over where XN and Abyss and Squid all came from for years. No, here it is all presented quite nicely and neatly. But within the context of a greater mystery and the idea of a massive history of dial users, it really felt like the Squid and Abyss and all these characters were going to have like some mysterious connection going back decades to the dials, which were going to turn out to be extraterrestrial or something. But it turns out, they have entirely got their own origin that just happened to bring them to Earth and into conflict with dial users many decades, I think, ago. So there's the mysterious history of the dial users is still there, which I feel is probably going to form the backbone of the story going forward. And yet you still don't have to worry about the imagination the book has had on display running out. Even while it's busy presenting you with all of this backstory, we still get more dial creatures as well. One of them, what was that one's name? Tap Out?
Tap Out.
Is that its name? Yeah.
I think so.
Or, one here that didn't actually get a name but has a little Swiss Army knives for arms.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what that's going to be named, because it took me a minute to figure out what that was, and then I was like, oh, sweet, yeah, that's all Swiss Army knives.
That one is. No, Dial H continues to, after a third issue that left me a bit uncertain, number 4 really pulled it back around again, and I'm still remain very eager to see where that goes next. Another one from last week that I picked up on a whim because of the creative team involved is First X-Men number 1. I probably would have talked about this last week if I had been here. Yes, this is the it's just kind of a prequel to X-Men. All they can say is that it's many years ago because they don't want to. But it's a premise by Neil Adams, who draws, with co-written with Christos Gage, and it's basically Christos Gage scripting with Neil Adams on the art. I don't think any sane man could say no. But
sounds like a win, don't it?
Yeah, you put that together. It is the story of how Wolverine and Sabretooth find that the government is finally making moves to attack and round up mutants. And when they attack a facility that has captured a young mutant, they manage to get a hold of a list of names of targeted mutants and set about tracking them down. And they happen to include, in addition to a new character who is an illusion caster, and it's a really great twist, actually. When this character is introduced, I've already forgotten his name. Hollow, I believe her name is. Yes, it looks like she is using her powers as a prostitute to appear fabulously beautiful and create images of whatever any of her clients would like to see. But it turns out in reality, she is granting them their greatest wishes by creating images. When we see what looks like a John is paying her, but in fact she's creating a hologram of her dead daughter that he had accidentally allowed to die when a house fire because he was too drunk. And she's granting people closure by using her powers to make them believe that they're getting to speak to these people for the last time. It's quite a nice idea. Then she makes a giant monster, and Neil Adams draws a nice monster. So you got that. And of course, the other characters are Professor X and Magneto. That's about the long and the short of it. And they have, of course, completely ripped. They admitted this in the promo interviews and everything. They have totally stolen Nazi Hunter Magneto from X-Men First Class. So if you like that, which you should have, because it was awesome.
Because it was really, really good.
It was a fantastic. Never mind like Fassbender's performance or like the scene in the bar from the film, which is a great scene as well, But it's a fantastic idea for Magneto as well, for what he would be getting up to post-war, pre-now. So here he kills like a guy with all of his iron crosses.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not reading any X-Men. I know I probably should.
No, I mean I don't normally.
Oh wait,
read...
now I am.
Oh yeah, that's right. Now you. Yeah, I wouldn't read X-Men normally either.
You should be reading Wolverine in the X-Men. That book I've been talking about how awesome it is. By Jason
Let me just
Aaron.
add it to 40 polls that I have 41 polls. Don't need any more.
Well, as far as first X-Men goes, I think X-Men continuity heads will probably be best left checking their analness at the door with this one. I don't imagine it slots in very neatly to established history. We do have Professor X being engaged to Moira McTaggart and attending university, which is a thing from the past, you know. But I don't know how the complicated histories of Wolverine and Sabretooth and Magneto would fit in too well around this. In isolation, it's a very entertaining piece of work, I thought. And gorgeous Neil Adams art. You know, this is a man who has absolutely still got it, regardless of what else you want to say about his writing, like with Batman Odyssey in the last couple of years, which was truly whacked out weird, or his personal beliefs. He can still...
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
Cranking in your head. I can hear him.
He thinks the world is hollow. I don't know why.
Oh, dear. In isolation, it's still a very entertaining piece of work. Christos Gage does good there, too. And finally, just a very quick nod towards Thor number 18, which came out this week, which is less for the content of the actual issue itself and more a reminder to let you know if you pay attention to what we tell you on this show and you buy Journey into Mystery, you will be wanting to get the next couple of issues of Thor, because these alternating issues are alternating chapters of the final arc for both series. Well, the final Kieran Gillen arc for Journey into Mystery, the final Matt Fraction arc for Mighty Thor, Everything Burns, which spins a lot less out of what has been happening in Thor and basically goes right back to the first arc of Journey into Mystery, which we will all recall Loki freed Surtur during in order to facilitate the destruction of the Serpent's Dark Asgard. Well, that's finally coming around to bite everybody in the ass. So that's not going to go too well for Loki. A large portion of this issue is flashback.
And why aren't you reading Journey into Mystery?
Yes, that's a good question.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should. That last issue made me cry. It did.
I warned you. I
need to read it. I need to read it. I'm so far behind.
I warned you.
I was so heartbroken. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. It's not right.
Well, the good thing about Everything Burns is that while the individual issues are being scripted by their regular writers, the story has been co-written between Fraction and Gillen, so everything should flow together quite nicely. Because I've never really felt that Fraction has been writing the same Loki as Gillen has been whenever Loki's made his appearances in Mighty Thor, if you know what I mean. But a lot of this issue is Freya having a dream, or flashing back to a dream she had about her father. Apparently, well, the details aren't clear, but apparently falling under the influence of Surtur or allying himself with Surtur, and the Vanir waging a war against the Aesir, and then Odin marrying her in order to call peace to it. Which, so obviously, whatever the ramifications of this is, it's going to tie right back into early Asgardian history, as well as just Loki's troublemaking. Lovely scene between Loki and Thor here, and where Loki tends Thor's wounds as well. You know, just to remind you, Fraction has always played quite strongly with the fact that these guys are brothers, and as much as there may be a lot of animosity between them, Thor does love his brother for all that he's ever done. And whenever all of that past has been stripped away by his resurrection, these two are a lot closer than they ever were, and we've seen that in the first arc of Journey into Mystery as well.
It is little Loki that's in Thor.
Oh, it is little
right?
Loki, yes, indeed. When I said writing the same Loki, I just thought he's never rung as true as he has with Gillen's version, and Gillen's version is the definitive version, obviously. Yeah. But there's a very nice scene in this where Thor has burned his hand trying to, like, fires have started to rage on Earth that water doesn't seem to be able to extinguish. I wonder what's going on there. No points. And Loki's tending his burned hand, you know, and Thor's just grumbling, and Loki's like, stop. And it's quite cute and it's quite sweet, to be honest. And we get a little more of Bill and Kelda in Valhalla as well. So there's a lot of points coming back from all through the last couple of years of Thor's history. It's not a massively eventful first issue. It is just treated as the the prologue to Everything Burns, with part 1 actually being in Journey into Mystery in 2 weeks' time, but I am quite looking forward to the rest of this story. And that's me for this week.
Cool.
Oh, I didn't
Very good.
get caught up on Journey. I am so far behind. Oh my god.
Really, you do like the last one.
I haven't read Exiled. Is how far back I go. I haven't read any of it. That's how far back I am right now.
You basically that's not that far back. Like you've got that, and then you've got the next one is like a 3 or 4 part story called Manchester Gods, and that brings you up to date. It's think of it as 2 reads that you need to make and read them one after the other.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, that's our show, and no.
No, I think you've.
Don't do this to me. Why you hate? Why you hate, man?
Can't deny the fans.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about it, and we've been talking about it, and so here it is. Finally this week, everybody's so excited. Everyone's so charged up about this issue. It got dealt out this week to stores and people.
Yeah, dealt. I see what you did there.
Ah, yes, thank you. So, anyway,
tell them the book, JD.
They're gonna tell us about Gambit.
Yay!
Yet another number 1. Yet another. So
Please,
I don't know. This is like.
Tell me that this book takes place in Las Vegas. I would love this book if it took place at a casino in Las Vegas with all those cards all around him. Just tell me it takes place in Las Vegas.
It takes place in New York.
Damn it!
There's very little in the way of cards. I mean, if you want to boil this down, like before we even start talking details or anything, what this is, rather cleverly, is a heist book. This is Gambit as a thief, doing an Ocean's 11 style, but with one dude type thing, where he invades blags his way into a party at the estate of Boria. I don't know. I'm trying to remember how you pronounce it. Boria is some kind of Slavic millionaire who allegedly has many supernatural and superheroic memorabilia and rare and dangerous artifacts that Gambit, of course, must get his grubby, fiefy hands on.
And I love those greedy hands. It's just so fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, so tell us all about it.
Nicole, do you want to go?
Oh no! Yeah, well, I'll just say the very first page is definitely for the fangirl.
Yeah, that's it.
Basically.
I'm sure that's not.
If you ever needed proof that I know what I'm talking about, then it's the fact that this book knows its audience.
I'm sure that's not just for the fangirls.
I don't know. There's little reason otherwise, and I'm not judging it.
No, I'm saying there's probably fanboys that would appreciate that as well.
Also.
So.
Yeah, let's just say that he's taking a shower, he's walking around his apartment naked, and things are placed just right while he's walking around.
Of course.
I have to say, though, the comic had me on its side with its very first sentence, which is Gambit. And, just as a side note as well, that this definitely sidesteps the old Chris Claremont phonetic accent thing. So he's not saying everything like with a written-out accent, doing this, that, own share, He has the accent, but they're not writing it phonetically with all the D's instead of T's. But the first sentences in the first caption box is, I like to think it says a lot about me that I can pull off a pink costume.
I love how he makes it. Yeah. He hates it.
Best first line ever in a comic.
It really, it kicked itself off very, very sharply with that.
Prov fucking O. That's like.
Yeah.
I tweeted about that too, McFeely. I saw you tweet about that.
Well, it deserved it. Credit where due.
Fantastic.
Oh,
well, you can keep going here, honestly.
You can keep on going.
Okay, well, basically, he's been a good guy long enough. He wants to go back for kind of like one last little job. He misses the thrill of being the bad guy.
So is he a bad guy?
No, hey guys, oh no, sorry, oh shit, no. Hey, we gotta interrupt here a second. Hang on.
Is it breaking news? Do I need to do breaking news?
It ain't, no, it's not something you'd want to make light of if it is. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Hang on, I gotta just verify this.
Are you talking about a recent person that has passed away that I've seen people tweet?
It would be like, it doesn't even seem to have maybe hit the news yet, that it might have like just happened. I'm seeing on.
What? No.
Dan Slott has just tweeted it. Apparently, apparently Joe Kubert has passed away.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Oh God, Jesus, that's a fucking tragedy.
Wow.
Oh, you want to talk about? I'm talking about Neil Adams there a second ago. You want to talk about guys who still got it and were still working? Oh my God, Joe Kubert was fantastic. I mean, that's terrible. Joe Kubert, the creator of Sergeant Rock, for the listeners who may not know, and has actually I don't know if he was the creator of Sergeant Rock, but he worked extensively in Sergeant Rock, and of course he's famous for founding the Kubert School of Art, which a lot of the modern hot comics artists have from which they have graduated. And he actually, DC were just about to launch a miniseries called Joe Kubert Presents, which was going to feature stories by him and other creators.
Oh wow.
I'm just flipping through the Thought Bubble Conventions reported.
He had done something recently that I bought. Also, I can't remember what it was. But it was,
he did. It was called. He did a couple of recent graphic novels. One about Vietnam, and I think he did some. I think he did something with Jonah Hex recently too. And Kieran Gillen's tweeted it there too, and so was Paul Cornell. Ah, Jesus.
Yeah, it's looking. It's already on Wikipedia as well. Not that that's a news source, but.
Yeah. Looks like this happened this may have just come out within the last 20 minutes. Ah,
that's
awful.
Wow.
Oh, that's a tragedy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should. That didn't want to. Maybe I shouldn't have interrupted that to talk about Gambit, but well, that's.
Wow.
No, we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it.
I mean, if it's happening, we want to.
Yeah. We should maybe let it. Yeah, or something. Oh, that's awful. Oh, well. No doubt we will see. And this is on the anniversary, guys. This is on the anniversary of the deaths of Mark Gruenwald and Mark Waid. Not Mark Waid. Mike Wieringo.
Yeah.
As well.
I saw that earlier today.
Mark Waid, Jeez, I keep calling him Mark Waid. Mike Wieringo passed away 5 years ago. Mark Gruenwald we lost 13 years ago. Still some of the greatest guys working. And Joe Kubert.
Yeah. Squadron Supreme. Loved it. Mark Gruenwald. One of the best books ever. If you haven't read it, read it. Do it.
Mike Wieringo, one of the finest Spider-Man artists ever.
Yeah, Dave Gibbons just confirmed as well, so that's looking pretty.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn.
That's awful.
That's too bad. That's a big hole. That's
Damn.
a big hole to leave.
Ugh.
Wow.
Right. Yikes. I broke the flow of the show there a little.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's something we need to mention, and we would have mentioned it a whole week later.
Yeah, we would have mentioned it last week, but it happened while we were doing the show. So.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I guess we best get back to Gambit then.
Yeah.
No, that's hard to do. To bring back in.
Yeah. Wow.
So... Okay, well, back to Gambit. He is trying to pull off this last heist by going to a party. Again, he's pulling off, like McFeely said, the whole Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, whatever thing. And you see him, working his magic with the ladies. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It works.
But do you notice that there's one lady here in particular who feels like she's going to be a character who will reoccur, There's more to this character. But she's...
Oh, that's Rogue. She's always around with Gambit.
Rogue has finally got some nice tattoos, apparently.
Yeah.
Especially with nice rose on her neck,
Yes. she's dressed very, eccentrically with weird little toeless boots there and a collar with a little bow tie around it, but no shirt attached to it, and the bare sleeves with lots of tattoos. And I'm like, this is a book that knows its audience. There's a lot of girls who are going to have picked this up and insert themselves into the tattoo comics fangirl role,
Well, he just works his magic with everyone at this party. The female guests, the waitresses.
You mean being incredibly good-looking and charismatic?
I like to think that that's his real mutant power. That the charge up thing, it's just like something he just does on the side.
No, not to shatter the joke completely, but no, it actually is. Gambit does have a secondary power to charm.
Oh, he does? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nobody ever remembers.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding.
You're making that up.
Swear, no. I just, I would have forgotten about it myself. I remember reading about it a long time ago, but who the hell ever remembers that or uses it in a comic? But I only remember it now because I was reading Essential X-Men Volume 10 not so very long ago, just a couple of weeks ago, and that's Gambit's first appearance, and they make a big point of this being something he can also do.
You are a fucking mutant.
Look, leave me alone! What did I do?
Oh my god!
I am tweeting
Who
that.
pulls that random information out of their head?
I just read the book! There's no room for anything else in here. I can't do math.
Yes, you are filled. The mind is filled with eons worth of minor characters and lost plot points. Wow. Geesh. Wow. Really? He charges people up?
Well, if you want to, I don't think maybe that well, I don't know if that was what they were going for, but Gambit can charge the ladies.
So he has his own version of fart pheromones then.
Oh, wow, there's the team up.
It all comes back again.
Yes.
It's a cycle.
Okay, so anyway, he was working the crowd.
Yeah, he's working the crowd, and then of course they get back to Sticks. He's the the guy that's running the party, and of course he knows how to charm him too. So he's touching him, he's looking at him in the eye, and then this comes back to play at the end of the book. So basically, he's playing everyone so he can pull off this heist.
Yeah, notionally, he's here on behalf of the school. He is an official guest here on behalf of the school.
Oh, yeah.
But being a less than savory character himself, Sitch knows of Gambit's other reputation. So all eyes are on Gambit.
Yeah, and then so he decides, okay, well, he gets all his information, so he decides to take his point, make a distraction, and how does he do it? He charges up a toothpick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blows up a propane tank, sends the whole crowd scattering.
Yeah. So in all this chaos, he's able to pull off his heist, and fortunately, he still has his nice little skin tight outfit going on here.
Oh,
he doesn't have the whole...
He's not in his pink outfit here. He is in a skin tight catsuit, and he is pressed up against a wall, butt out.
Okay, go
This
ahead and say it again.
Bitches,
go ahead and say it again. You know who the audience is. Go ahead and say it.
Knows who it's playing to. There is no question. And I'm not judging it for that in the slightest. Believe me, I've read enough books where female characters do exactly the same thing for a male audience, and there is not 1 ounce of judgment. I just have to laugh because it's such an uncommon sight. But it's the fact that I've been saying for 3 months now, bitches love Gambit.
Yeah.
And what is this coming out at proof that it knows?
I would like to see the stats on this. Who is actually going to be picking this up? Is it more women or men or X-Men fans? It'd be interesting to see.
Whoever they are, they grew up in the 90s.
Well, when he was meeting up with Mr. Stick, I guess that's how you say it, isn't it? Stitch? Stitch? Yeah. He apparently recorded his voice. He, got a palm print from him. He got his laser, when he's looking in the eye, he's got his retina scan. So he's able to conquer his...
A lot of James Bond shit here. Like, the guy has, like, even the vault itself is invisible. It's in an invisible extension on the side of his mansion that you can't see from outside. Gambit has to walk through a wall. And then all of these doodads and buzzsaws and lasers and things come out of the wall, and they're like voice print, and then he's got a recording of the guy saying his name because he deliberately pronounced it wrong to get him to pronounce it right. And whenever he pressed the flesh, he took his palm print using a specially treated glove, and whenever he looked him dead in the eyes, his magic sunglasses captured his retina print.
Yeah, he's got it all figured out. He even says, "Wow, things have changed pretty much with laws and surveillance and stuff."
But then it gets to the very end, and then it's got through all of these physical things that he needs, and the computer goes, "Password," and he's like, "Oh."
Damn.
And then he goes, "Please, password accepted." Ding.
It's like, I should look to say please more often.
I just say please more often.
The computer voice, was it a woman's voice?
I don't know, but I love to think so.
I get it as Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. Password accepted.
God.
I should say please more often. But then this is where you get
charm computer.
And then, of course, he's riding around the whole vault. He sees some stuff. You actually see, like, some Doom bots. You see, like, dinosaur skeletons, old London phone booth. You see a lot of different things here. But this is where you get his Cajun stuff. This is where his Cajun personality comes out with his sayings and...
Yeah, he hasn't phrased it. He hasn't used any French or anything, or he hasn't, had any of his particularly lilting bits of Gambit speech. But he's c'est magnifique, something special about you, mon petit. Almost can't leave you just lying around, no. But it's still not written out in the Chris Claremont phonetic way, where there's a load of apostrophes everywhere, and all the T's are written with D's. This is an insult to just leave you lying around. Cha, cha.
God.
It's not that.
Reminds me when I tried to read Captain's Courageous. That was just awful.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Well, anyway. Continuing on, let's just say his heist didn't go as well as planned. His arrogance got a little bit too away with him, and his little object that he takes is also, he forgets, hey, this might be rigged, and it was. So another explosion happens. He's trying to get out, basically. But he pulls a nice one because he somehow gets out, gets back into his not skin tight cat suit.
It's a white tuxedo, ladies.
Yeah. And there's just been this security guard that's been around for watching him. The security guard does not trust him, and of course he shouldn't. But the security guard's like, "You're the one that did all this." He's like, "I've been talking, the gal at the beginning vouched for him. I've been talking to him for an hour." So that's where you get to thinking she's going to play a key part in the future.
Eyes for him. No, there's some more going on there.
And so for a payment, he's going to meet her tonight. Ha!
That's right.
Yeah, and so, basically it ends with this artifact that he finally got not working out like he thought. I don't know, should I give it away?
Yeah, you may as well. It's
okay, basically this artifact, it opens up, and this starfish comes flying out of the air, attaches to his chest, and is sucked into him. And all you see, the last page, is him screaming in agony.
Whoa.
And his are going everywhere. So
continued, I guarantee.
So I think he's going to be missing out on his date.
So is there enough there to make you want to come back for issue 2, you think?
Oh, yeah, for me, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Naked scenes. Skin tight suits.
Oh no, it's a really good first issue. It gives a whole different side to him. I mean, he's not just a guy that charges things and throws.
So you're reading the story. You're reading the book for the story, then.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
No, for my money, I don't think that I'm tempted enough to come back here, but I can at least articulate why. Because I have to say, I really enjoyed like the first 2/3 of this, where he's doing the whole sneaky spy, Ocean's 11, get the info stuff, and then it turns out, oh, he'd recorded it all, you know. But then once he's actually in the room, it quickly becomes apparent, and it's obviously quite deliberate because he's just a thief and he's really doing this for the thrill. But he's not here for any one specific item. So he picks this thing at random. He doesn't know what it is. We don't know what it is. So there's no real significance to it. So I'm not interested in it. And then it pops open at the end, and a starfish comes out, and it grabs onto him, and it's like, that's great. But to be honest, like I think my opinion of this book would have been elevated substantially if he had just stolen something shiny and got away with it scot-free at the end, and it had just been a complete done-in-one story to say, this is a mission statement, this is Gambit, this is what he is doing now, this is what this series is going to be about. The way Daredevil really kicked off, or the way Hawkeye kicked off last week, I mean, really, like, you know, Hawkeye is going to be the yardstick. A lot of first issues are going to be held up again, particularly when you're talking like a B or C list character who's normally better known as a member of a high-level franchise team. There's a lot of comparison that can be drawn between a new Hawkeye series and a new Gambit series coming out so close to
like
one another.
A Hawkeye, a Gambit monthly. It's like it is the damn 90s again. Honestly, I think I've died and gone to 90s hell. Is it?
I don't know, man. I think even the 90s were wise enough not to have Hawkeye for the series.
Yeah.
Took the early 2000s in their real throw everything against the wall and see what sticks phase before they decided to try giving Hawkeye a series. Unless you count Avengers spot.
Yeah.
You know, I think it kind of loses itself a little at the end when it tries to make something more out of the story. They could have left in all this stuff with the girl to let you know that there's some stuff that's going on there that will reoccur. But I think that suddenly attaching massive coincidental significance to an artifact he picked, well, apparently totally at random. I mean, I suppose they could say that it telepathically influenced him to pick it or something like that, you know. I would just like it if I mean, obviously the idea is they're going for is that Gambit is flighty and does this stuff for the thrill of it, but it's like, to me, it's like if he was able to plan out all that tech and everything, then he probably should have had like a little list of stuff he was actually going to take.
Well, do you think he chose this artifact because it was like the one that he had to go searching for? I mean, was it just up there in the front of the
well,
safe?
he does a little bit of web slinging all the way through the place and goes eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and settles on this one. So it does seem to have been picked entirely.
That's true. He does say that.
I think probably it'll turn out that whatever this creature is, it may have like psychically influenced him to pick it or something like that, you know. But I have to say, like, just like that bit of it didn't do anything for me, and it doesn't really convince me to come back.
I liked it.
It's kicking off a little too much out of the gate. I think I liked it if it would have maybe followed the Hawkeye model and just taken a little, just a tiny, tiny baby step backwards, and not ended itself on a big cliffhanger that was screaming at you to come back to find out what happened in this. Come back.
It worked for me.
Come back because you. Well, I mean, it's a decent cliffhanger and everything, but it's like come back because you enjoyed the cheeky fun of this comic, and not because you want to see what the psychic starfish is doing. You know, frankly, you know, if I want to read a story about a psychic starfish, there's another company puts enough of those out every so once in a while. You know, this is not resonating with me as something as massively original.
The cheekiness or the cheeks or whatever.
Actually, there is no buttock. There is a distinct lack of Gambit buttock.
You get a little, you get a side view. You get a side view.
You gotta say something for issue 2, McFeely. You gotta keep.
Cool.
Well, yeah,
awesome.
That's
All
Gambit.
right.
It's a decent first issue. Not quite enough to convince me to come back because I think it stumbled a little at the end. Tried to be a little more than it should have been for a first issue, perhaps. But definitely some good ideas with the characters there. And I'll say it one more time for posterity. It definitely knows the audience and it's playing to it.
Very good. Awesome. All right. And with that, that's pretty much our show. So, want to remind you, if you are an Android user, which Chris McFeely said he is going to be one soon. So
I am starting annoyed by my inability to take convenient pictures of things.
Oh, dude, it's a whole new world, man. You get a smartphone, it's like, so good.
JD will start texting you in the morning.
That's right, I will. But it'll be afternoon for him, so.
Yeah, that's true.
You know. So that's okay.
Yeah, McFeely can start tweeting at work about the stupid people that come in.
Yeah, see, you get a whole new level of connectivity and synchronicity. I mean, it's just great. Anyway, but we do have an app, a Fanboy Versus app for Android that you can download. You can search for us on the Android store and download the Fanboy Versus app. You can get our entire backlog of shows, plus new shows as they come out. It's also linked to our Twitter as well, so you can see our tweets throughout the show and week as well. So check that out. Go to the website, fanboyversus.com. You can also see all of our back shows there on audio and video. So that's something else awesome to check out, because we do the show on video, so you might as well watch it, for fun. So, and one more time,
you can see McFeely's sexy beard going in right now.
That's right. We'll get like a timeline progression.
At least one of those words is true.
We're getting a timeline progression of Chris McFeely's beard over the next couple of weeks. So tune in for that for sure.
If it lasts that long.
Yeah, really. It'd be like 2 weeks and then gone. Excuse me. So, one more time, I would like to say, again, our thoughts go out to, loss of Joe Kubert. That's just, that is
tragic.
A huge loss to the comic community.
That's very sad.
So I am sure there is going to be all kinds of tributes and things going out over the next weeks and months, I would say, that you'll see a lot of stuff coming out. So, so thoughts to him and his family as well, because his sons are also very involved with the comic, community as well. I mean, so, it's a big family, and not just his, but like I said, all the other creators and things that he's touched as well. So, yeah, huge loss. So, all right, well, that is our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. So maybe you tune in next week, if you will, and you can tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.